What if the one person who heard you best was the one who destroyed you most? Have you ever whispered a fragile truth to someone you thought was a friend? The kind of friend who leans in, nods along, and makes you feel seen. Then later, you wished you could swallow those words back because a single sentence can shatter a life. We trust the people who smile at us. We believe those who listen are allies. But sometimes, the safest looking ears are the most dangerous. This is the tale of a weary soul who learned that truth when it was already too late. In an industrial city shrouded in perpetual smog, a man named Leo lived a life of quiet routine. For 9 years, his world was the 4 gray walls of a massive brickworks on the city's fringe. Each dawn, he rose before light, washed with tepid water, ate a plain meal, and donned a warm, grit-stained uniform. His days were a silent march. The same cracked pavement, the same greasy spoon cafe, the same nod to the gatekeeper, then joining the river of men moving endless stacks of heavy clay bricks. The machinery was a constant roar. The labor was a slow, grinding weight. Leo's body ached. His spirit grew thin, but he spoke little of it. He held a simple belief. Hard work was dignity, and silence was a kind of armor. Others, he told himself, had it far worse. At home, his world had color. His wife kept their modest home with care, and his little girl's evening ritual was to run and embrace him, burying her face in his work clothes without a second thought. That embrace was his anchor. It was why he never grumbled, never rebelled, and never considered walking away. Inside the factory walls, Leo was seen as reliable and calm. He never caused issues, never arrived late. This quiet nature led him to trust his surroundings, especially the men he broke bread with during lunch and toiled beside for endless hours. One of these men was Carl, cheerful, loud, always asking after Leo's family with what felt like genuine concern. Over months, Leo began to let his guard down, but his body was sending signals. The labor was becoming physically crushing. His energy faded by midday. His mind grew foggy from the monotony and din. He felt no rage toward the owners, only a deep yearning for a single day of respite, one shift of lighter duty to let his bones recover. One evening, after a shift where every brick felt like a stone and a sharp pain lanced through his spine, Leo walked out with Carl. As they passed under the gate's iron arch, Leo paused, took a slow breath, and voiced a thought he'd never uttered aloud. He murmured softly that his body was wearing down, that the loading was becoming too much, and that perhaps he might request just one day on a less punishing task. He didn't speak of quitting. He didn't voice anger. It was a confession of fatigue, offered with a thread of hope. Carl patted his back and said, "We all get tired, brother." Those words felt like a weight lifted. To be heard was a relief. Leo believed he had safely shared his burden. What Leo could not see was Carl's need to feel significant. He thrived on being the bearer of news, the center of a whispered conversation. The next morning, during break, Carl pulled another worker aside. "Leo's cracking," he said in a low voice. "Says he can't handle it." The other man's eyes widened. "Is he leaving?" Carl shrugged, a gesture ripe for interpretation. With that small, careless shrug, the truth began to warp. Exhaustion became discontent. A wish for rest mutated into a plan to abandon. As the hours bled on, the story traveled. Each retelling added a sliver of fear, a dash of drama. By shift's end, the narrative no longer belonged to Leo. By the next dawn, it had taken on a life of its own. One worker claimed Leo was quitting next week. Another said he was poisoning morale. A floor manager, anxious about his own standing, heard potential troublemaker and passed the concern upward, sharpening the language. The shift supervisor then heard agitator. By the time it reached the ears of the plant director, Mr. Vance, the message was a siren of threat, a disloyal worker fomenting rebellion. No one paused to ask Leo, Rumors are faster and more exciting than facts. Mr. Vance was a proud man who equated loyalty with survival. Facing financial pressures, he saw not a tired man, but a spark that could ignite a blaze. He decided a swift, decisive example was necessary. The following morning, Leo arrived as always, greeted the guard, clocked in, and reached for his gloves. Before he took a step toward the kilns, 2 security men blocked his path. In the Stark office, he was confronted with accusations of betrayal and sowing discord. His calm explanations about merely asking for a lighter day were drowned out. A decision was final. He was dismissed on the spot, his final wages in a thin envelope, his name quietly blacklisted across the district. The walk out of the gates he'd entered for nearly a decade was escorted by silent stares. And the story, now free in the world, grew darker still. Whispers of theft, of instability, followed him like a stain. Doors he knocked on for work closed before he finished speaking. At home, the silence thickened. Bills mounted, savings evaporated. The man who believed in basic goodness learned how swiftly trust can be incinerated. Not every listener is a friend. Some are just archivists of your pain. After countless sleepless nights, Leo made a quiet, desperate decision. One pre-dawn, he packed a small bag, kissed his sleeping daughter, and left the city to find work where his name was still his own. Weeks later, reviewing old security logs for an unrelated issue, a manager saw footage of Leo's final days. The man was alone, working mechanically, speaking to no one, a portrait of solitude, not sedition. A cold realization dawned. When finally confronted, Carl admitted the truth. He was just tired. He asked for one easier day. This truth eventually reached Mr. Vance, bringing a hollow regret. But Leo was already gone, his place empty, a silent monument to a catastrophe built from whispers. The lesson echoes: guard your vulnerabilities. Words released are arrows that never return. Wisdom isn't just knowing what to say, but knowing when to hold your struggles close. If this story resonated, please like this video and follow the journey here on Winds of Thought. Your support helps us share more tales that make you think.